how do you sell all these, get these big numbers, Quentin?
I get leads. I call leads. I go out and help them.
Yeah.
And then when I make my income, I buy a portion of that goes towards leads, and I buy more leads.
All right. Hey, everybody. Josh Lockhart here. Family First Life gloves off. My good friend here, Quentin Kelley. And I have to say that this guy right here, when I started with Family First, of course, you have the ability to go out and build an agency, link up with other people that see the vision, want to help people with life insurance. And this guy right here was on my mind from day one. Just because he's such a solid guy. If you don't know him, which you don't, he's like one of those guys that's like always put together. He's always looking sharp. He's just like what he says you can take to the bank. And I promised him that once he helped 10 families in a week, that we would get him on a podcast. And he just, instead of doing 10 or 11, he crushed it and did 17. So you've definitely earned this podcast. Glad you could be on here.
I appreciate you letting me come on. That's
yes,
awesome.
and both of our boss, she approved this podcast as well.
Yes, she did approve this podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So to jump right into your story,
okay,
right? Because this is about you. I'm just here. What's your background, and then, hey, why are you here at Family First Life?
It's a pretty strong story. It's an interesting story. Okay, because I grew up in New York. But my parents were from like North Carolina and South Carolina, right? So I was the only kid eating grits and eggs on Saturday.
I love grits and eggs. Do you do them separate or do you mix them all together?
It depends on the day. At that time, though, it was everything got mixed together. And you put everything.
I mix it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up in New York, then we moved down to Georgia. But in the meantime, and I'll come back to what caused me to come down to Georgia. Once I got into working hard, I did the fast food thing as a young kid, right? First job, fast food. Yeah. You really get to see the public and everything. And one day I decided I was going to get engaged to my boss, which is Melissa.
Right? That explains so much.
Yes.
That explains so much. How did I not know that?
I'll tell you. So I'm in fast food, working at Taco Bell. I was an assistant manager, making all of $28,000 a year. And I'm like, all right, I'm prepared to get married. So my wife's like, well, not as long as you live at your aunt's house, right? So I said, let me look it up. Let me find something that I can live in. Called the realtor, went to go get approved, and everything I got approved for was on wheels or cinder blocks. And I said, I got to find out a way to make more income. Okay, so saw this ad in the newspaper. This is about 23 years ago. And it said, earn $100,000, no experience necessary. Went up there, found out it was selling security systems, knocking on doors, talking to people. And I quickly found out that it didn't matter what I looked like or what neighborhood I was going into. If I found out what the issue was and had a solution, it didn't matter what it was, as long as I was able to fill a need.
Okay.
And that's when I fell in love with it. Of course, I had to see that compensation of being paid what you're worth instead of just being locked into an income was just huge. I was like, wait a minute, I can give myself a raise whenever I want to. This is amazing. This is good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I've done a little bit of everything: cell phones, satellite dishes, security systems. Then I got to work at a car dealership, did sales for a car dealership, became finance manager, which was great. A lot of hours.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. You're like a salesman's salesman.
It's just because I knew if there was things that I've always wanted to do or offer to people, or I saw it was a great solution. In the beginning, it was about chasing comp plans, right?
Yeah.
It was chasing comp plans because I wanted to make money. But I soon found out was chasing a comp plan won't get you to where you want to be, okay? But if you find something you believe in and you really, it's something that you can help other people with, the compensation comes with it.
Yeah.
It's just how it rolls, right? So, but I always liked cars because I just thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So let's do something that's fun. And I did that for a while. Finance manager, worked a lot of hours, made great income, but not a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until we had our first son. And I was leaving home before he got up. I was coming home after he went to bed.
Yeah.
Dude, I was missing out on the first year of my son's. I saw my son grow up through FaceTime and pictures and videos. And if you looked at my wife's social media, you would have thought she was a single mom.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, how old are your kids now?
7 and 3.
Yeah.
7 and 3, and they both think they're 37.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I talk to a lot of dads, right? New dads, and they're in this, independent contractor, entrepreneurialistic world, and I don't know, there's a season of sacrifice that has to be made. That's just the way it is. And we were talking about it earlier. I don't know how you think about this, but I just feel like if you're really doing a good job, you're gonna feel like you're lacking kind of all the time, right? Because if you're with them, you're not providing, and if you're providing, you're not with them, and certainly that I think you can have it all, but there's certainly seasons where it really just seems out of whack. I don't know. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, and you'll find that you're either working really hard and you're making a lot of money, but then you're lacking in family time.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're with your family, I should be selling, and if I'm selling, I should be with my family.
Right.
And that was always something that I had a hard time with, because I wanted to provide, but like I said, I'll come back to some other things that happened in the past in my family, that I was like, I gotta be there for my kids when they grow up. Mm-hmm. When I was at the car dealership, they always joke there's 2 sets of families. There's the first set where you made them all the money, but it was just enough for the divorce and child support. The second set of family has all the family time, but not as much money.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, I like my first set. I don't want a second set.
I don't want to do that again.
Okay?
No.
So that's when I got into insurance. I wanted to build a legacy, something that had residual income, that it was building. Started working for Liberty Mutual for a little while, great company. But I was captive. That's all I could offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but it gave me time freedom working for corporate. I had not worked for a corporate entity. So, health insurance, and they gave me a 401k, and they gave me weekends off and all that stuff. But you know what they didn't give me? A lot of compensation.
Yeah.
And so it's like my family was loving that I was home, but it was getting really tight.
Yep. Swung back the other way.
Swung back the other way. And that's not good either, because you're still thinking about, I should be selling when you're with your family, and when you're with your family, you should be selling, right?
Okay. So let's come back to that statement here in a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. But, all right, so, family first life comes along. Mm-hmm. Obviously you're here now. What was some of those initial thoughts that you're like, should I do this? Should I make a change? You've made lots of changes throughout, the 20-year sales career. Yeah.
And during that sales career, I had been duped many a times of what's the compensation, the amount of work that comes behind it, what really is behind the curtain, what are people really doing to get to the opportunity, to get to the top. Yeah. Where you get to the top and you did it the right way, and they're like, I can't believe you got here on the right way, And that's when, with Family First Life, it looked really good. Mm-hmm. But I didn't jump on it because it looked too good. Compensation, too high. There's no way that could happen. The amount of access you had to clientele, no way that couldn't happen.
Yeah.
And you came over here, which I already knew you were a solid dude. I was like, okay. But even then, it was a year of me watching you, watching numbers. I do calculations beforehand. And I'm like, this is not right, because everything's adding up. everything's adding up. This doesn't make sense, or else everybody would be there.
Right. Right.
You know? And so I'm talking to you, and you laugh about this all the time, and I actually just finally broke down and I said, I'm gonna call Josh and find out what's going on. Because I've been calling you just little touches and hey man, how's things going? Great. They all said, I come from the sales world. Everybody's doing great.
You're always great. Yeah.
Everybody's making a ton of dough.
Worst week ever. Great.
Yeah. Oh man. Just be it and it'll become it.
Yeah. Speak it into existence.
Let me tell you something. You got yeah. Okay. Broke equals broke. Okay. No matter what you say.
Fair.
Until you actually break through.
Yeah.
Right. Broke is broke until you break through. And so me and you talked and I said, look, man, I trust you. But you gotta tell me what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And you want me to go into that conversation?
Yes. This is my favorite conversation.
So Josh goes, well, we have a ton of leads here. We call a lot of leads, and we get compensated for it. I was like, okay, that's the company. That's the company. Toe the line.
Right.
Bring the people in.
Yeah.
I need you to be straight with me. Be straight with me, man, because I'm about to, make a different direction with my family. Tell me the truth. We have a ton of leads. We call them. We go out to them. We help them. I'm getting frustrated. Josh, what are you doing? And you got frustrated and you said, I don't know. I guess we're just better. I don't know.
I said I think we just work harder than everybody.
We just work harder than everybody else. And I'm like, I'm looking at the numbers of what you're doing, and I've been in other final expense, mortgage protection companies before.
Yeah.
No one's doing these kind of numbers, and not a lot of people are in that company doing those kind of numbers.
Right.
And I said, look, all right, Josh, appreciate it. Thanks for the conversation. I hung up that phone, and I'm like, he acted like he didn't even care if I got on his team. I said, and I think he's going to stick to his story. And I sat back and I remember talking to Melissa and I was like, look, I think we're going to make a change of this.
Yeah.
I said, here's the thing. If a quarter of what he's saying is true, it's enough to change us financially.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, haven't you done that in other companies where they've said that? I said, yes. But everybody that was at the top almost all looked alike. They all had the same kind of background. They all, except for the one-off moms and pops. I said, I'm looking at YouTube and I'm seeing young people, old people, backgrounds with doctors, backgrounds with people that are young, old, was poor, was rich, was successful somewhere else, was broke somewhere else. I said, I see too many people that look too different and too diverse not to give this a shot.
Yep.
And I said, let's just give it a shot. It's funny, I was talking to Melissa about this last night.
The boss.
And I mention Melissa all the time.
Yeah.
Y'all, Melissa's my wife, 21 years, okay?
Yeah.
And I said, honey, I can't believe where I'm at now compared to last year. She said, don't forget, I gave you your first $100, $150 for leads.
Oh, I didn't know that.
First, didn't forget, honey.
I remember, like, you were like, I mean, we knew each other, right? And you were like, okay, hey, you told me, like, I'm doing this, and you were very, like, straightforward with everything. You said, well, hey, like, I'm not going to come out of the gate, though, and, like, pretend to be your top producer. Like, you kind of set some parameters, which I appreciated, and I wasn't gonna tell you had to do what my goals aren't your goals, that kind of thing. But I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was making a lot of, in my previous practice company, I was helping a lot of memberships. I was getting a lot in. I was doing a lot of those things.
You had a lot of revenue.
But it wasn't calculating to the bank.
Yeah,
okay, it was looking different funny colors. Okay, and it wasn't because they were sending me celebration notes. Okay, so, but my wife said, I believe in you, and I know you love life insurance.
Yeah,
you love life insurance. She goes, let me help you really get this thing started. And she cash apped me $150 so I could buy some age leads and make my phone calls. Okay? And I was like, I got to make at least these leads work.
Yeah.
Let me just make these leads work so that I know I at least came back with that much money. Because can I make back $150? I don't know with this company, but they say I can.
Yeah.
So let me see,
Yeah.
right? And let me roll back real quick to when we were talking about my love of life insurance. So before I was 12 years old, okay, my mom had died of cancer and my dad died in a car accident.
Wow.
My aunt took us in, me and my two brothers, and she already had 2 kids. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody had been bold enough to explain to them how much life insurance they would have needed or the guardian would needed to take care of that, my aunt may not have to work 24 hours a day to watch us, right?
Wow.
I may not have been the one to watch over my brothers and sisters, and I wasn't the teenager that had fun. It was watch over them, right? Yeah. So when I found out about life, and that's one thing I like about Liberty Mutual, they taught me what life insurance was.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. Somebody pays this little to make this much.
I mean, we all we all know what it is, but no, we don't.
No, we don't, right? Yeah. So she knew I always loved it, but the companies I was with, I had like a very small amount of companies I was working with. The compensation was just enough for me to buy more leads, so I was just rotating in the muck, in the mire, and it looked good. Once again, revenue, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I closed out this much business. Okay, great. But what did you get paid? What got put into the account? And I'm talking to people out there that are in insurance that are like, oh, I'm very successful. I'm top 1, 2, 3 in my company. But when it's all said and done, we want to help people. But you know who we want to help first?
How much is in your bank account?
Right. Your family is who you want to take care of. I love that I'm taking care of my family by helping other families, which is why you probably got into life insurance.
What did you tell me today about, you went on vacation?
Okay. Because usually for the past 4 or 5 years, if I'm on vacation, I'm bringing my laptop.
Yep.
I'm bringing my laptop, and if we get to the beach, I tell my family, you guys go to the beach, just let daddy work for a couple hours here. I'll meet you at the beach, which usually meant I got to watch the sunset with them, right? Which was, to me, still having valuable time. Or I was there for breakfast, or I was there for whatever, but I wasn't there. This last year, within just this last year, I haven't been here a full year yet.
How many months do you think it is?
I started in May, and this is what?
November.
Okay, so whatever, you guys do the math on that.
Yeah.
All right,
4 or 5
so
months,
you don't have to be a mathematician to do this stuff, right? I go on vacations now, and I go on vacations with my family.
Yeah.
And they get to have vacation with me. And I can be there with them and really enjoy those moments. Because this has afforded me the ability. Jim Rohn says, don't take the office to the beach and don't take the beach to the office, right?
Yeah.
And I never understood how that could be possible. And I didn't think it'd be possible here until maybe year 3 or 4. And here we are in month 5 or 6, right?
Yep.
And here I am, and now I'm able to be able to actually enjoy family when we take those times, right?
So let me ask you, I mean, you were asking me, hey, how are these people doing all these numbers? And I didn't have a great answer for you. Now, you just sold 30 families in a month, just November week 1, a week or 2 ago, you had 17 in 1 week, which is incredible. How do you sell get these big numbers, Quentin?
I get leads. I call leads. I go out and help them.
Yeah.
And then when I make my income, I buy a portion of that goes towards leads, and I buy more leads.
Yeah.
Now, I do some other things on top of that. So I do use social media, right? But I used to, in any other sales business I was in, is I'd be like, hey, guys, I do life insurance. Hey, guys, I do life insurance. But I came into this business knowing that I have burned my warm market list.
Did you ever like hit people up? Hey, let me give you a free quote.
Let me give you a free quote.
Yeah,
Free quote.
yeah.
Free quote. Hey, cousin Sally, I know I've already talked to you about Cutco knives and this business and this business and this business. And it got to the point when there were certain people, parts of my family, when I called them, they were like, what are you selling? And I'm like, well, I am doing injury. Now, but I didn't do it with this time.
Yeah.
Because I had so many leads to work on, I didn't need to talk to them, right? So, but I would post if I helped an 84-year-old woman with cancer get policy. I would post, hey, I helped somebody protect their house and mortgage with life insurance. Hey, I would never even do a call to action.
Yeah.
And people started saying, if you were able to help them with this, can you help me with this?
We were talking about this, and I've had the same experience. I don't post about sales or clients or, that a lot on social media. And I've had people reach out to me like, hey, can you help me with my insurance? And I'm like, oh, if people are like, you're successful in insurance, I want you to help me with my insurance because you're obviously successful. You help other people. You probably can help me.
Yeah, because this is what I want to do. I want to be so successful with helping people who've already raised their hands that the people in my circle will go, if people will trust him with them, then let me go ahead and reach out to him.
Yeah.
Because what I really, and I might be letting the cat out of the bag, I want to make sure that every one of my friends and family have life insurance, but I know if I go to them, they'll say no. But if they see enough of me actually being able to help other people, then I'm no longer the guy that just sits there and eats wings with them on the weekend. I could actually help them with a policy, right?
Yeah.
But you have to do that. You have to be successful if you want to build a business. If you're trying to build and create an agency, one of the things you told me was the best thing you could do is be successful. Because nobody wants to follow somebody that's not doing the business, right?
Yeah.
Because every person that talks to me says, how are you doing? Quentin, I saw that you helped 17 families last week. How did you do it?
I love it. I
buy. People raise their hand. They say they want life insurance. I go ahead. I purchase those leads. I talk to them. Some people get it. Some people don't. And I just rotate that over and over.
So let me ask you this, and just, we know each other. We've had conversations, and our wives know each other. What's behind the scenes, right? Because, we on here, and we talk about, you help 17 families in a week and all this stuff. But what's it been like with Melissa, the conversations about the business, the schedule, the finances, all the stuff that kind of make life happen? And I know it's improved because we've talked about it. Not that you guys had a bad relationship. I'm not anything like that. But like just some of those things. What are some of those things that maybe are different now than they were 5 months ago? Well,
first of all, I'm glad you said the disclaimer that you knew nothing was bad before. Honey, nothing was bad before.
We're all good here.
Okay. So I've been a part of opportunities where we talk about attaining the dream.
Yeah.
Or a dream. And for the past few years, my main thing was I was happy if all the bills were paid. Yeah. If we could go on a vacation, and that was the biggest scope of it.
I remember one time I asked Michelle, I was like, we were talking like goals. Hey, what do you want to do? And she was like, I don't care as long as the bills are paid. Like she had just given up on any kind of dreams. And
if at the end of the month, if everything was paid and there was 2 days left, she was excited. She was like, okay, cool. Everything's paid. Right.
Yeah.
And, money's not everything, but what does Zig Ziglar say? It's right up there with oxygen, right?
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. Now the conversations are different. Mm-hmm. Right now my son's in public school. It's okay, and he's in special education. He has special needs. Now we talk about, do we keep him there? Possibly private school. Possibly.
It's a big difference.
Big difference. I don't know, because I've seen some of those tuitions if I even want to do that. but I might be able to go. It's an option, right?
It's now not just like, oh, one day, someday. It's like, oh, we could actually.
Right.
Yeah.
When we were talking about this the other day about our children. Children dream.
Yeah.
When we were kids, what are you going to drive? Everybody's going to drive a Ferrari Testarossa. Everybody's going to get a Lamborghini Diablo. And I might be dating myself, but you play that little MASH game, right? And you pick out what kind of house and car you're going to have, right? My children are in that stage right now.
Oh, yeah.
And what they dream about and what they would like to do, and before I would be like, oh, that's nice that you want to do that and get off that subject.
Yep.
And now I'm like, so you really want to go to the beach down at Panama City Beach? Beach, Daddy, please. And I put down on a piece of paper, August, beach, vacation.
Yep.
Put a little picture of the beach on my little screensaver there, and I'm like, I wonder if I could actually pay for us to go to a nice condo for 3 days at the beach. And my goal is to not bring the laptop.
Yeah.
Hit it. Was able to get a really nice condo right on the beach. Didn't have to worry about where we were going to eat. It was what type of food we were going to eat.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag.
Right.
But when you can sit down at the menu and look at the right side or the left side, wherever the food is, right? Instead of the right side of where the price is, it's a different experience.
It's incredible.
You know what I'm saying? When you're sitting there and you're talking to, and your kids are like, Daddy, I wish I could go to that water park. And you're like, well, honey, when's the water park open? Oh, it's okay. Well, it's closed right now, but we maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
And to be able to see our kids dream and understand that I'm teaching them that dreams are okay to have. But also they're seeing that it's because Daddy's being able to work. Now, of course, I do receive blessings from hard work, Yep. There's a lot of things that go into it as well. But what I'm saying is, when you're successful, but you don't have to, here, you don't have to be number one to do the things I'm talking about right now. In other companies, you have to be starting to get towards the top of the mountain to even be looking at it. I'm telling you now, when I'm telling you this now, I'm only scratching the surface of where success even looks like here. I'm surprised people know my name when I'm walking through the office here, right? And I'm able to do these littler dreams. But then the other day, me and the wife, we were sitting there and talking about, what if we wanted to do this with the kids, or what if we wanted to do this with the house, or what if we wanted to get this for the yard, or what if and we sat for almost an hour talking about things we could possibly do.
That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling.
When you get to have possibility talk with your spouse, and the conversation's not, hey, which one of these are we going to pay? Hey, which one do we do the bill shuffle with this time? When that conversation is gone, it starts to become a time where you can spend time and you can be with your spouse and remember why you are spouses, other than trying to survive.
Absolutely.
So, this says best business ever, and it's not because we're trying to just attract people here. It's because we want people to be here to see what they can have and the possibilities they can have. I've got 2 or 3 reps on my team, and majority of them are part-time. But that part-time ability is going to help them with full-time ministry work. It's going to help them because of the way we get compensated here, because of the amount of leads that we have here. A person can come into this thing and work it on a part-time basis and be able to alleviate themselves from the rat race of the 40-hour week maybe, and do this part-time to make a little bit of income, right?
Yep.
And when we say little, it's because of, proportionally,
right.
Right. The table almost leans when I'm, not sitting right on your side. But it's well enough to allow their families to do what they need to do. So
on that note of possibilities and all that type of thing, what's, as far as the business is concerned, what's the next thing you're shooting for? What's the next rung? What's the next goal?
it's interesting, and I need to study more about what our compensation model, because there's so many. You're telling me about bonuses earlier today, and I'm like, they bonus you for doing, like, for doing more effort, you get extra bonuses. I'm like, they already high comp. How in the world are they doing bonuses? So you took me to the integrity meeting, which I'll tell you, it's the only opportunity I've ever been in where the parent company says you have the ability for us to buy you out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was supposed to talk about that, but it's too late now. Okay. But it allows me to understand the book and everything. So my main thing now is, one, to stay consistent with the, helping the 30 families a month. We have people on the team that are helping 100 families a month.
Yeah.
But that's never been my goal to be doing. I say that now. My goal right now is 30 to 40 families a month. But to be able to teach 10 to 15 people how to help them to do 30 or 40. And so when I'm doing my 30 to 40 families this month and the next few months, it's more about how duplicatable am I? Am I just running off the cuff? If one of my teammates was watching me now, could they do what I'm doing, or is all this Quentinized, right? Yeah. So what I want to do is be able to be consistent, show them that it's not a one-off, because I tell you, there's never been more, after that 17 family week, now I'm like, they always say once for show, second is for dough, right? And so I want to be consistent. Not every week is 17 families.
Sure.
Right?
Sometimes
but I'm not going to.
23.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, let me tell y'all that are out here now. This man will subliminally say stuff in your head that all of a sudden rattles at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you heard him. You might have heard that whisper in there. Sometimes it's 23. And then you're like, let me see my headset there. But what I'm saying is this, is if I could be consistent and duplicatable and do it every week, if somebody tells me, hey, look, all I want to do is help 5 families a week and be able to do this, all right, well, then you only have to do this. Okay, I want to help 80 families. Okay, well, double this.
Yep.
So if you take it and help yourself become a standard, and that's what we're trying to do here, is help people to be able to be consistent so that when they're helping families out, they're not worried about the commission. Now they can be more mission driven, right?
So if somebody's listening to this, they see what you're doing, they know you, they see what you've been doing, and they're like, hey, I think I want to do that too. Would you help them?
Absolutely.
So how would they reach out to you?
Oh, easily. I think I've had the same cell phone number since, flip phones, right? My number, of course, you can call me 678-266-0167. If you call me, you might be surprised. There's no answering lady yet. I don't have a virtual assistant or anything like that. It'll come directly to my phone. All right. And that's how I like it. I like it that you can call me. There's, of course, I have my FFL email, which is Quentin, Quentin, Kelley, Kelley, .ffl@gmail.com. So just reach out to me there as well. And if it's just you have questions, if you just want to know, hey, Quentin, what's the real? Here, I'll tell you, because I'm not going to paint this as pretty roses and unicorns. I hate to tell you this. It takes work.
Absolutely.
It takes work, man. Because, you're going to have all these people that you're calling, and some of them are crazy. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's going to be times where you talk to somebody and they say, thank you for reaching out to me, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate you letting me come on this. To be able to talk to so many people all at one time. And, this studio, this is crazy, man. That you can come out here and talk to people and help them understand this is an opportunity. Just take a look.
Absolutely.
Just take a look.
Appreciate you, man. You're a solid guy. Appreciate everything you do. Take care.
Take care.